Welcome, and thank you for joining me in this virtual presentation. My name is George Yeiter. I'm the Endowment Fund Chair for the Rotary Foundation in District 5890. My contact information is at the bottom of this slide should you need to contact me. The best known funds of the Rotary Foundation are the Annual Fund and the Polio Fund. The Endowment Fund, not so much, and that's the fund that we're going to be covering today. Let me introduce you to the world of endowment funds. What is an endowment fund, and what does it mean to Rotarians and to Rotary clubs? Okay, an endowment in a nutshell. It is an investment fund. It's used by nonprofit organizations, churches, universities, Rotary clubs, etc. And these nonprofits can make level withdrawals from the fund as needed at somewhere usually in the neighborhood of 4 to 5% a year, and they distribute an estimated $75 billion each year, so they're significant players in our society. Endowments are part of society's financial social capital, that is, capital or money used for the common good. Many social needs are provided by both government and private organizations. Governments actually rely on private organizations to help. Hospitals, parks, monuments, and helping individuals in need, making our community a better place for all. These are just some of the foundations and endowments that you may be familiar with. So why do people donate to endowment funds? It can last in perpetuity. The donations are invested and not spent. The earnings are then used for service now and in the future. To make a difference, they want to be an example to the young, and they have an affinity with the organization. Maybe it's their university that they graduated from, or it's their church, or it's their Rotary club. You don't have to be a billionaire to have an endowment. Back in the days when I was in the CPA business, I would advise clients not to set up a foundation unless you have at least $5 million. It was too costly and too much risk associated with it. But something came along new to the world of endowments are personalized named fund. These are like sub-accounts, and they allow individuals that don't have $5 million, that have much smaller sums of money, to also have a named fund, an endowment named fund that can last in perpetuity in their name, continually providing service to humanity. Nearly anyone can establish a name endowment, the young, the old, the poor, the rich. So let's see how you fund it. You can fund it during your life or at the end of your life. Now, during life, it's usually done when a person has a special financial event or a reason. What's a special financial event? Maybe they sold a capital asset and they have excess funds and they would like to make a charitable donation. Or they have a reason, like someone close to them passed, and they would like to make a memorial to that person. For example, a Rotarian who lived a life of sharing and service, and the family would like to honor that person, to memorialize that person's life through the Rotary Foundation's personalized named endowment. Now, how do you fund it? Well, easy, cash or capital assets. Capital assets generally have better tax advantages. That's something to talk to your tax advisors about, though. At the end of life, make plans during life to fund it at your passing with life insurance or a bequest from your estate or a bequest from a pension account. As I said, most anyone can afford it. Here's an example. Using term life insurance, most people could afford to make an end-of-the-life contribution to their endowment fund. You can see here coverage for $250,000 to $500,000 for a term, people in their 30s and 40s. the coverage could cost anywhere between about $9 up to about $19, $20. Now, this is term. I prefer to recommend people use permanent life insurance. But really what you need to do is to see your insurance advisor or your financial advisor and discuss what the cost is and what the appropriate coverage for you is in order to accomplish your objective. As you set up your named endowment fund, there are three things that you have to select. The name that's going to be used on the account. It's your choice. It can be your name, your family name, or someone that you wish to honor or memorialize. There are two types of gifts. A term gift. Funds are spent on a specific program over an agreed upon period of time. Let me give you an example. It could be, you would say, I would like to fund a global scholarship for a student to study abroad. I would like this student to be one picked from my hometown that will study each year for the next 10 years. Or it can be an endowed gift. The funds are invested in perpetuity, while the portion of their earnings are spent on a designated program that you select. And speaking of selecting the programs, you pick the service your endowment earnings will support. It could be any of these. The more you put in, the more flexibility you have in determining exactly what you would like to see your funds support. Now, most Rotarians are in Rotary for fellowship, friendship, and service. Service, improving the lives of others. Often they want to do it in fellowship with other Rotarians and making the world community a better place for all. But someday, our physical ability to serve will come to an end. This is a picture of a Rotarian couple engaged in a Rotary Club service project improving the environment. But death will stop their personal service, and in time will stop your personal service. But with a named endowment, death does not have to stop your life's good works. You can continue to live a second life of financial service. Set up your own personalized named endowment fund. And with every $25,000 contributed, it can generate around $100,000 in your second lifetime of doing good. Plus, there's the third life, the fourth life, and it goes on in perpetuity. Now let's address why endowments are important to your Rotary Club. Currently, we have somewhere around 1,900 Rotarians from 50 nations that have endowment accounts. In 2018-19, that generated $17.6 million that was used for Rotary service that year. It's the Rotary clubs that decide which students are going to use these scholarships. See, this funds your Rotary Club's ability to select students in your local community to study abroad. Also with humanitarian service projects. The money is available from these funds for humanitarian service, maybe in a specific area, but it's your club that decides where to spend the money and which projects they want to do. So this is money for projects your clubs will do, and that's why it's important to them. It actually accounted for 14% of what the annual fund generated in that same year. This is significant dollars, and it's growing every year as more and more Rotarians like you and me come in and set up a named endowment account for our families. Currently, the Rotary Foundation's endowment has $1.3 billion, but of this, only about half a billion or $500 million is invested generating income. The other $800+ million are promises of money to come when a person dies in the future. We have a goal. The goal is to have $2.025 billion by the year 2025. If we can do this, and say half of it, a billion, is invested in investments, then that will generate some $40 to $50 million a year for your Rotary Club to use for grants, for students, for young people to train abroad, and for all of the humanitarian service projects that your club wants to do. So, what's the impact of your gift? You get to help improve the human condition through humanitarian Rotary Club service projects and through international education grants from your Rotary Club to your local students, your local young professionals, helping them study abroad and train abroad and living in other cultures, bridging the divides between people, promoting peace in our world. That's significant. You will have more personal happiness and fulfillment of your life. You will create a legacy that keeps on giving, generation after generation. You will achieve a goal. You may become a major donor or an Arch Club Society member. And you will be setting an example of sharing and service for your posterity and for your fellow Rotarians. Your legacy, Rotary's promise. Here's a question that we all need to address. At the end of life, will your life have been just footprints in the sand that wash away with the next tide? Or will you leave a lasting legacy, passing on to subsequent generations your personal values of sharing and service above self through the Rotary Foundation, living a second financial life of providing financial support for Rotary Clubs, humanitarian services, and their programs of promoting peace by giving grants to young people to study abroad, all improving the human condition. You see this grandfather planting a tree with his grandchildren? He's leaving the future behind. You too, with your contribution to your named endowment fund with the Rotary Foundation, you too can leave the future behind. Enable Rotary service now and forever through your endowment fund. If you would like to discuss this more, then this is my contact information. I can help you evaluate whether or not a personalized named fund is suitable for you. Lisa Pauls is our Rotary Foundation Chair in District 5890. If you have questions related to the foundation in general and to the annual fund and the polio fund, this is her contact information. Thank you so much for being with me today during this virtual presentation. I hope it's been worth your while, and that if it's appropriate for you right now, that you will contact me and let me help you set up a personalized named endowment at the Rotary Foundation. Thank you.